Let me check my ego at the door. Okay, check.
Bye.
Hey, what's going down? You're on the recovery pod.
And we're here to speak our truth. Our own
Are
truth.
we?
Each other's truth.
What?
Are you here to speak your truth?
Oh,
I'm here to speak my truth.
I'm here to speak my truth. TR00F.
Truth.
So how's it going? What do you want to talk about? I don't mean to put it on you.
Yeah, I just been thinking like the whole feelings thing. It just so happens to come, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily like, I don't like to categorize them into positive or negative, but it's just kind of like your body is sending an alert out to like you that something is off and something that needs to be addressed and to be made aware of. So our feelings are just basically, or feelings and emotions are, I guess I don't know the difference, but they're reactions to our thoughts, our body reactions.
Right. Yeah, I feel that.
So that alert goes out, and if you don't resist it, if you just let it come in and go, like I read that it only lasts like 90 seconds, so like a minute and a half. And it's so much easier to just let it come in and flow. And it's just like even if you do get stuck in it somehow, it's like emotions can't actually hurt you. And it feels like when you're in it, it feels like it's going to be here for eternity. It feels like it's the end of the world. This is just so painful and unbearable. But honestly, if you just allow yourself to just let them come in and not resist them, they literally just feel like another thing. They don't feel like something that's painful, because what creates pain is resisting something. That is the most painful part of the whole thing, when you really break that shit down. And
yeah, and like even in recovery, the whole "this too shall pass" thing was like so foreign and so new, and such a hard concept to grasp, but really is a good tool to use just to remind yourself, like, this moment will pass. And that goes for good things too.
yeah, and I just like had this thought. It's almost like if something is happening inside of you, no matter what it is, it's almost like you have enough respect for yourself and love for yourself to accept that thing to happen, to let that thing happen.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, who am I to say if it's right or wrong?
Exactly. If it's happening inside of you, if it's just there's a reason for it, and it just is the way that it is.
Right.
And
And I feel what you're saying with the whole letting it pass thing, but also it's good to investigate it. Why is it here? What is my
but no,
body
that's
trying
what
to
I
tell me?
mean. But that's what I mean. Like when it's coming in, like of course you're gonna invest. I mean, I ought to just like automatically like have thoughts about it. Like if it comes in, and then I just like think it through, like what is going on. So yeah, it's not like you just sit in it without any thoughts. I mean, of course you're gonna have thoughts about it. But it's always good to have that observer mode tool where you're able to just kind of observe it come in and observe why it's happening and what it is, because then the whole observer mode thing is the investigation, right?
For sure.
So yeah,
seeing, like, being honest with what it is, what's going on, and not getting lost in it. And when I say investigation, I feel like everything has a fine line. Like everything has a but. Like you want to accept it, but you want to investigate it, but you don't want to dwell and get sucked in, but you do want to look. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but there's a triangle, a thought, feeling, action triangle. A
Mm-hmm.
thought creates a feeling. A feeling can create an action, and then an action can create a thought. And if
Yeah.
they're all negative, you'll have a negative thought, then you'll have a negative feeling, then you'll have a negative action, which will give you another negative thought. You're judging yourself, you're feeling bad again. So you have to break the cycle somewhere. Something like a gratitude list will break the thought pattern. You're feeling like shit, a couple things go wrong. You stop, you do an honest gratitude list, your whole perspective can shift. Things are going right. Yes, things happen. First, you don't resist and you accept. Number one. Then you turn to something like a gratitude list and you address the negative thought. You try to put a positive thought in there. It might give you a positive feeling of peace, relief, comfort, gratitude, whatever. Then maybe you have a positive action, or you self reflect on your negative thought when you're in the middle of an argument. And then your feeling turns to one of perspective where you can maybe look at yourself, see things slightly differently, and then reapproach that argument from a place of humility or a place of understanding or a place of peace. Therefore, the action is different. Therefore, your response in the argument from your counterpart might be different. Then a feeling interjection might be something like taking a break, taking a shower, um, resetting somehow, whether that's a game, a movie, a book, something to take your focus off the thought, to give you a better feeling, a self-care exercise. Then that turns into a positive action, turns back into a positive thought. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I'm kind of new to this whole feeling thing, but when I just the past like day
Sorry, it's
that
not the
I've been
COVID.
feeling, um, so the past like 24 hours I've been feeling. I feel like this feeling comes in, and I feel it through for a minute, and then I feel better.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I can't really say much on it because maybe I'm just not getting hit with things that could make me feel very, very strongly yet.
Right.
It's just been like little things. But then again, it would just be like really big things that have been bothering me for a minute that I would just observe them and just let them come. And I'm just like, okay, let's go. And then I just sit through it. And then it's like there's like the switch that goes off and I just feel better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's always good to have something to clear your mind with to get you away from that for sure.
Yeah, you got to break the cycle. Like if
Yeah.
I have a negative thought, uh, whatever, my friends don't like me. Then I have a negative feeling. I'm worthless. I'm lonely. I'm less than. Then I have a negative action. I'm not going to call my friends. I'm not going to answer their phone calls. Then I have another negative thought. You know what I mean? Like that's just like a small example. Um, and then like in Buddhist recovery networks, refuge recovery, recovery dharma, they speak a lot about aversion to pain and attachment to pleasure. To where we
Mm-hmm.
seek pleasure. So when we have a negative thought, we avert the pain. I hope that's the right word, and if it's not, whatever.
A virgin.
A virgin
Sorry.
the pain, yeah. Then we seek the pleasure, yeah. And it becomes this like chase to not feel what we're feeling and to feel something else. So they teach you to be mindful of that, to greet pleasure with non-attached appreciation. I appreciate this pleasure. I know this too shall pass. However, I'm going to enjoy this moment. And then we greet pain with compassion. Okay, I see that there is pain in me. I see it's coming from somewhere. Where is that? Let me allow myself to feel this pain. Let me treat myself with a solution like I would treat my best friend in pain. But no, we tell ourselves, it's wrong to feel this pain. I don't want to feel this pain. How do I fix this pain? How do I make it go away? Because I don't only want to stay away from this pain, but I want to feel pleasure, and it's good to even just know of these things so you can keep them in perspective enough to navigate. We still want to get out of the pain. We still want to address the pain. We still want to find that peace. We still want to make joy where we can, but we're not clinging to it. We're not grasping and clawing to get there. We're not taking pain and putting up the biggest blocks and fighting it. We're trying to guide,
Yeah, so that's just another way of saying just allowing yourself to feel pain or allowing yourself to feel pleasure and just letting
Yeah.
it come and go and just flow.
Yeah.
So you feel pain, it comes in, you feel it, you sit in it, and then you don't latch onto it by resisting it or by, just it just comes and goes. And then the positive feelings, the pleasure, it comes in and it goes.
But we have a fair amount of will to navigate. So we don't want to blow in the wind and just, oh, this is pleasurable. Okay, I'll just hang out here until, whoa, I'm over here in the pain. Okay, I'll just hang out here. But we don't want to try too rigidly to stay in pleasure and avoid the pain. But we do want to navigate. We do want to direct the ship. We don't want to just take our hands off the wheel. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but it's harder to do that because then it's easier to throw your hands up and blow in the wind. I did that in early recovery bad. Like, well, I guess if I float over this way, it was meant to be. And, because that's what is, and must be higher powers will, and what I was really doing was deflecting all responsibility. I was letting go of all of my willpower because I didn't want to hold myself responsible or accountable to mistakes I may make or be the reason I ended up where I ended up. It was like, well, the higher power made this happen. It's God's will. It must be meant to be. So I didn't do it. You know what I mean? But if I have willpower and I make a decision and I make the wrong one and I get put in a spot for it, it's on me. And that was a heavy feeling when I was early in recovery to feel the pain of making a mistake, to feel like I did something wrong. So then I just blew in the wind constantly until I got to a point where I'm like, dude, that's no way to live either. You have willpower and you have some power in this world. Now, you don't need to be in one extreme or another. I don't need to have all the power and control everything the way I want it to be, but I do have some power. So learn to be brave enough to try to use your power without letting your side steps throw you and without letting a failure crush you to the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just kind of had this annoying nerdy metaphor I'm about to use.
Give it to me, yes.
So, okay. Feelings are just like life is a constant execution of code, right?
Okay.
So, but just bear with me, please. Please. It's gonna be good.
I'm ready.
So you're executing code, right? And then if it has executed without any trouble, that's a good feeling, right? So then you just keep going, and then there's bugs in the code, so just flags it. It's negative feeling. You go investigate the bugs, you fix them, the code keeps running. The code is executing. It's good feelings, right?
Right.
And then you run into more bugs. That's negative feeling. That's alert. It's flagging something's off. You investigate it and you fix it. So it's just that constant cycle of things. But the goal is to just continuously execute this code to keep the operating system running.
Oh, God. I love that you said that in that tone though. You're like, and then the code, and then the bugs come. That's negative feelings. And then the code starts running, and the code's going good again. Like, it's great. Will you do a meditation for these people and for myself so I can listen to it daily in that voice?
Yes.
I want it to be a code meditation where you're just like, you are the code. You are every digit. Press enter. Yes.
You are your own programming language, unlike any other one that's been created.
That's dope. I like it. No, it's good, and it's very accurate. Life is never going to be a bugless code. It will always have bugs. Even if you are the best coder in the world, you will run into a bug, and it's okay. Just fix it. Do a patch note. You know what I mean? Get it.
Yes.
You know how I know the word patch? Fortnite. There's
Good
bugs
job.
all the time. Bugs all the time. So yeah,
At
no,
least
that's good shit.
Yeah. Because it's just like, what?
No, I was going to say, I don't even know where to go after that, but you got me. Go. You got this.
Yeah, like the bugs don't necessarily mean, oh man, this is the end of life. I just want to give up and quit. Like, you got to shut the whole thing down. It's like, you just got to go and see what's wrong. It's just saying that there's something wrong. You don't know what. And a lot of the time, compilers show you the line that there's a problem in. And that's the beauty of our thought, of our bodies and our minds, is that you can actually pinpoint to the line of code that has got something wrong with it. And so you literally just have to investigate it. You don't have to take it, you don't have to like resist it or add more negative feelings or self-judgment to it.
And you can't ignore it. You can't ignore the bugs because they're going to pile up, you know?
Oh, no, yeah.
You can't just say, exactly. Well, the code will fix itself. No, it's going to keep going and then probably create more bugs and more backups, you know, like.
It actually, like, once you get to the bug, it doesn't let you get, I mean, some compilers do, but it doesn't let you get past to the point of, like, seeing what other bugs there are. So it just kind of stops, like, it stops compiling at that moment. I mean, there's different, like, kinds, but I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, please don't. You made your point. So, like, this kind of falls into it, unless you had more.
No, I'm done.
So, like, thank you. So, like, we're so sensitive, people in general. We're so sensitive. Yeah. We don't like putting ourselves out there. We don't like making mistakes, and we really don't like failing. However, the greats who accomplish things, I've read it in so many, like, motivational things. The biggest thing they say is get used to failure. Become friends with it. Become familiar with it. Like, go out there and fail. Go fail again and fail again until you make it. You know what I mean? Like Thomas Edison. Damn it. I don't know. Yes? Light bulb? Thomas Edison.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with it.
I mean, yeah.
George Washington or Thomas. I'm just kidding. So, like.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla. Elon Musk, make light bulb. So they say, you know, about the 1,000 times making the light bulb. Like, I didn't make a light bulb on my first try. I had to go out and figure out 999 ways how not to make a light bulb, you know, and he just keeps trying and trying. And I cannot imagine the amount of dedication it must take to go out there and fail and fail and fail and not give up. Like, I can barely fail a few times before I kind of give up. And I don't mean like a non-start, like a misfire or like a failure to launch. I mean like a failure, like a crash and burn. Like, I commend people that go out there and fail and then keep trying. Like, you know, I do it in certain areas. I don't do it maybe in the places I first think of, because it's always like music or something grandiose. But like when it comes to some things, yeah, like I'm bound and determined, like I'm gonna figure this out. Otherwise, none of us would walk. None of us would know how to ride a bike. None of us would know how to fucking do anything, because somewhere along the line, mostly in adulthood, we stopped being okay with failure and learning and process. We just want to do it all, like right away, first time, you know?
Yeah, because somewhere along the way, we probably got put down for failing, and then we didn't want to have that feeling of failure anymore, because it wasn't a failure until it felt like a failure. You know
But
what
you
I mean?
need that feeling of failure. You need it. You need to feel like
No, what I'm
I
saying
gotta
is
do something
feeling.
more.
No, what I'm saying is like feeling bad about failing.
Right. Well, nobody feels good about it. I don't
No,
think
but I'm
anybody
saying
feels
like
good about it.
before, like, okay, let me just use this as an example. I had to teach myself to ride a bike, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I would fall down and I would get back up and I would just keep going until I, taught myself. And then there was a point where when I would fail at something, I got put down for it. Like, oh my God, you're just like so horrible for this. So then after that point, the failure felt like a bad thing. And I just wanted to avoid feeling like that. Does that make
Totally.
sense?
Yeah.
But
No, and I totally get that.
in the beginning, failure didn't feel like a failure. It just felt like, oh, I'm not good at this yet. I need to get better.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like when we're babies trying to walk and we fall over a million times, we don't sit there and judge ourselves, think we should do
Yeah.
better. Our parents aren't like, you dumbass, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hopefully not. But like, yeah, but then somewhere along the line, some kid says something stupid because we stuttered on a word, or, some kids made fun of us because we fell off our bike, or our unconscious parents or guardians, didn't handle themselves with the best tact in motivating us. You know what I mean? And we put negative connotations along with failure. It became
Exactly.
humiliation. It became, you know, a deep seated, like, negative emotion that we attach and we never want to feel again. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to get used to failure again, because, someone can go out there and put their hearts out and put everything into something they do and just bomb and get laughed out the building or get like ridiculed. And it's like that could stop us. But we need to, and it's so hard to be like, no, get up there and try again. Like, what? You want me to do that again? You're crazy. But
Yeah, you're just basically defending. It's a defense mechanism against it now. It's just like, I don't want to feel this shitty again.
yeah,
I'm done.
yeah. And I get it. And it's totally valid. It's just that we don't want to let that win. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that doesn't mean go up and face every humiliation you have. But if you want to do something, you got to get used to failing. You have to get used to not being a pro right off the bat. You have to get used to, like, I don't know, just trying and try. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. I just came up with that. How do you like it?
I love it. um, yeah, and the same thing goes with just giving up on yourself. Like that, once again, that bad emotion that comes in, it's like a flag. It's just like, it's like that, like, quote unquote failure of something. But that doesn't mean like this is where it stops. This is where you just give up. It's just you gotta try again with this, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And where do we draw the line with continuing to do something, like failing and keep trying, and when to say when? You know what I mean? Like, there's another one of them paradoxes. Like, how do we know when to just call it and say, this isn't for me, or when to say, no, this is just a barrier. I have to get over the hump.
When it's causing negative when it's having negative effects on your life. So if I'm sure you're, well, I don't know, but maybe like giving up on a person, right?
Okay.
You keep trying and trying with somebody, and then it's taking a toll on you, on your mental health, on you're just constantly feeling depressed and drained, and then that's when you draw the line. Like, this is not good for me to continue to do this. Now, if you're doing it with somebody who is worth that, and you're trying and you see results after a little bit, like it's not taking its toll on you whatsoever, but it's more affecting the other person in the positive way, and it's keeping you steady, rather than with the other person, it's keeping them steady, but giving you negative effect.
Right.
So that's where you would see that.
Yeah.
And same goes with just things and stuffs
or even like recovery, trying it again. If you fail, you get back up, try it again. I was more thinking, of course, because I always think of like my rap. Rap is like, and I mean like actually like performing, is getting up on stage and performing terrifies me. It literally, I can't even daydream about it successfully. And the thought of getting up in front of people, pouring my heart out, trying to do something and sucking at it, getting like just being really bad or making a mistake or whatever would be the most horrifying thing to me. And I think that's a big reason why I don't practice and I don't try to break that. I mean, part of me, I've talked about it before, doesn't really want that life. But at the same time, it's like, I wish I could break that and be like, this is what I want to do. I wish my confidence can start to build and this shyness and this anxiety could start to lessen. And then it's like, do I go out there and just bomb and fail and get really embarrassed a couple times? Is that paying my dues? Is that like, facing my failure and growing from it? Or would that be counterproductive? And I don't want to get into all that because I feel like I already like talk about that too much, but it relates with a lot of my anxieties, but yeah. And then I just don't, or do I get to a point where I'm like, hey bro, this isn't for you, man. Like, I don't know. But then again, I don't practice. I'm not like Jordan, like sitting there practicing all day, every day and perfecting my craft. I'm just, well, it's been a while, but let's go try this out. And,
Well, I just feel like a lot of that, like the whole fear and anxiety, it's all just from like self-image and self-judgment. And that you kind of create yourself for yourself, that stress even before it happens. And knowing, I mean, if your rap is good, and it is good, it's not realistic
it's
to think
it's more than good.
It's fire.
Have you listened? No.
It's not realistic to think that it's going to be just so bad, and that's just your mind making that shit up. So yeah, I feel like it would be worth it to get through that, push through that very first time ever. And even if something does go bad, it wouldn't necessarily be because of the reaction of people. It would be because either you would get in your head about the one little mistake that you made, even though nobody noticed, or you would get in your own head so bad that you would like either choke or you would just make that mistake because you're just so fucking nervous.
Right.
So,
dude,
yeah.
I can barely read my shit to my son in a room with just the two of us without feeling the flutter of nervousness. I can't imagine being on stage. Like,
it's just your mind, and you know that.
I do know that, and it's totally valid. But how do you overcome things like that if someone is socially anxious? Yes, it's all in your mind. However, that doesn't make it any less real. That doesn't make the feelings you feel less real. There are ways to address that, and I take baby steps, like, sharing things in front of people and trying, but at the same time, like, my point is I don't practice. It's not, I don't know, I want to get off this because I don't want to stick on this too long. And I don't know, I guess when I talk about this I feel like I'm just like blah blah blah, but maybe not.
No, you're fine.
But like, so it's never like the actual song, it's never the lyrics, it's always the performance aspect, to where I don't practice, I don't have the best breath control, and add on top of it the anxiety, and most of that is there because of how unseasoned I am in performing. Like, it's not like, oh, I can perform great in a room by myself, I sound great, I look great, I do it all great. It's, I suck at a lot of these things. I need work in a lot of these things. Therefore, I haven't even tried yet because I know I haven't done the proper work. And that's where I'm at now. Like, when people are like, hey, come do this at the talent show, it's like, nah, bro, my breath control sucks. I have the anxiety, and I always lead with anxiety, and I probably should stop. But it's like, I haven't done the footwork yet. I haven't trained in the gym. I haven't practiced my 3-point shot to say I'm going to go up there and one-on-one someone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it comes down to, is knowing yourself. And to bounce back to what we talked about on the last one, that self-judgment makes me better. It keeps me in check with what's really going on. And it will drive me to do better, to train better, to try harder, if that's what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then eventually you're going to get in your head so far like that nothing you do will ever be enough, because that's the point that I got at. It's like I'm doing so good with my life, right? I know this logically, but I still feel like I could be doing more and nothing I do is enough. Because I compare myself to others. I compare myself to these other people who know certain topics of things that I do. And I'm just like, man, I could be there too. Nothing is ever enough, even though where I'm at is completely fine. So you got to draw the line there too. And I don't know if I can relate this to me at meetings, but I can feel that fear. Like, it's like right before I'm like, I'm good. And then as soon as I get on to see all the faces, I just completely lose it. And I think the main number one thing to start with is to just accept that feeling. Like, okay,
Right.
I am scared. I'm terrified. Crippling anxiety. There it is. And it's
Right.
coming in and it's flowing through every single inch of my body. And I just sit in it and I just let myself sit in it. But when I resist it, when I try to tell myself that this is not there, it's not true, it's not happening because it's not supposed to be happening, because I've been going to meetings for like a year now and I've been fine before. It's like, that makes it so much worse. And I get to a point where I literally can't like talk at all. Like, I'm just like, I feel it's like resistance upon anxiety. And it's all just like a giant jumbled mess of stuff.
Right.
And yeah, so first things first, accept that feeling and accept yourself for being that way.
Totally. And relieve some of the pressure off yourself to be a certain way. Like,
Right.
so I could see what you're saying, as far as saying, it's never going to be enough because you're always going to compare to the next person. And that's not the place I was coming from. Like, I'm going to flip it to a dance routine. So, like, let's say you have to go in front of people and do a dance routine.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to make sure before you do it that you at least have the steps memorized and you feel confident in your movement. Now, if you go up there and make a mistake, if you go up there and forget something, if you go in there and just show some humanity, that's fine. And being okay with that is key. However, if you don't practice, if you run out of breath, if you forget a lot of steps, or you just never memorize them all to begin with, you wouldn't feel confident going up in front of people doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, when I say I don't want to get to a God level, but like, I want to at least feel confident that I know the steps, I put in the practice, and I have at least an average, chance to do this.
So what I'm basically hearing is that all you need to do is just practice,
Yeah,
that's it. It
yeah.
doesn't mean that there's something. Yeah,
And I always
there
lead
you
with
go.
anxiety, and that's the wrong thing. That's like when I say I'm antisocial and I don't like hanging out with people, I lead with that. And then I start to believe that more. So when I talk about stage fright and performance anxiety and all that, I lead with anxiety. And then I circle back to the but practice and knowing myself and knowing the level of commitment I've put into it, the lack thereof. It's understandable, but if I lead with the anxiety, it creates more anxiety. So like I'm sure there'd be some anxiety if I did memorize everything and felt confident. There'd still be that general eyes on me anxiety, because I get that in meetings too. Like, believe it or not, when everybody's looking at me, like we have such a great meeting, and a lot of times it's small that I don't feel the eyes on me like that. Um, but at other meetings, like with a table setting and they go in a circle and there's like 20 people and they're not my closest, recovery people, God, I feel that tension. And then I'll like start talking and be like, "Oh, I got this," and I'll have shit to say, and I'll totally be in the moment and confident. And then I'll just look around the room real quick, which is a mistake. Feel the fucking eyeballs on me,
Yeah.
and just instantly, my mind is telling me all the things they're thinking, and they're never good. And it's just this like pressure, like I will go blank, I will get hot, my heart starts beating, and I'm done. Like that's all I got, thanks. And then I'll just sit there and fucking more than likely blush right after, and because I'm so damn special, I have to be the one to say something, and everybody's just sitting there thinking about me, and farthest from the case.
Yeah.
I have to remember what I think about people when they stutter or when they say something that may not be the most profound thing. Like, I'm not judging them. I've seen people say some dumb shit in meetings, talk right out of their ass, and I still don't even judge them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't even sit there like, you fucking idiot, or remember it the next time I see them, unless it was like way out there. Um, yeah, like people are just as selfish as I am, and ain't nobody sitting there thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves, and that's a relieving thing. What am I? Not special.